All right, hold up. Something's not right here. It's December. There's just not enough. I mean, we got a little bit of Christmas, but hang on. We can do better. All right, well, yeah, it's a little better, I guess, but I don't know, man. I'm still missing something. Give me one more shot at this. Yeah. All right, now we're cooking with gas. All right. Hey, everybody. Happy holidays and welcome to episode 2 of the True Patriot podcast. Dude, it is the season for giving. We have so many things we want to go over for the December edition here. I'm so proud of what that first edition did there. We know we've got a lot of room to grow with that. On the production side, we'll continue to try to improve that stuff. But thank you guys so very much for working with us here and for joining us for these things. This is all another platform that we're trying to use to gain ground. To help bring more awareness to the work that we're doing on the Veteran Support Services side. Obviously, anything we can do there to help out those great nonprofits and so forth, this is just another avenue to do so. So, awesome stuff. Like I said, man, it is the season for giving. We have a ton of stuff to go over here. I'm going to have to put my BCs back on. Bear with me so I can read here. So let's take a look here real quick. We're going to have, so the news, we're kind of changing up how we're doing news. We're briefly just going to talk about a couple fishing topics here and there, unless there's something really big that's shaking the fishing world up. Otherwise, we're going to use our news piece to talk about a lot of these nonprofits we work with, things that they're doing, things that they have coming up for the next month, and maybe the next season there, and just try to give good segues into eventually, we're going to start having them on the show here so we can introduce you to those guys so you can see the work that they do, why it's important, so on and so forth. And yeah, man, we're just going to try to use that news as the education piece, man, to kind of give you an idea about a lot of the stuff that we're doing and why it's important and how you can help us on this mission here. It was an easy mix, man, to bring the outdoor and fishing world together with these causes that we're supporting. Just because the lion's share of the outdoors and the people that partake in that find these topics very important to them personally. So it just makes sense that we all work together to go through that. So yeah, man, we're going to touch base on some of that with the news. Let's see here. The nonprofit partners, we're going to give a rundown on the ones that we're currently working with, some that we've in talks with, just to give you an idea. We have some cool interviews, man. I am so humbled and just beside myself, very, very grateful for the 2 interviews we're going to have this month. This entire podcast may go so long that we're going to split it up into 2, so that way you're not sitting and just, watching your face melt on the screen on your phone or on your PC, wherever you tend to put this. We're going to split this. We'll drop episode 1 of the December podcast, and then we'll do part 1, and then we'll do part 2 a couple days later there, just to kind of break it up, because I want to make sure we give each section here its due deserves in regards to attention. But the interviews I'm talking about, check this out. On our little podcast, our dinky little deal that we're just getting up, flying and running here, none other than the national champion of the HOBIE B.O.S, Bass Open Series Kayak Trail, Miss KRISTINE FISCHER, is going to be joining us this month. We're going to have a little interview piece there we've recorded with her and to kind of go over this last season, where she's going, her thoughts on kayak fishing in general, her thoughts on the giving back piece community, and she'll probably, if we can get her to, we'll get her to talk about the angler health side that we're going to be covering. The other interview that we're doing is going to be our first ever PSA that we're putting out. We're hoping to do at least 4 of these a year. As some of you may know, I am a former first responder out there, and from a lifetime ago. And the point of being able to get PSAs out every now and again for those folks that like to enjoy the outdoors in some fashion or form is very important to us here. We believe it's an important community service piece that we can do. So we thought, well, who do you go to help with this, right? Who do we bring in to be the expert in this area? How about you go to the people that train the people that are going to be coming out to help you? That's right, Dive Rescue International, the president, Mr. Justin Fox, is going to be joining us here for the December edition, and we're going to talk about ice safety. Okay, with ice fishing season already getting rolling in some parts of the country, and for us out here in the West, it's we've been having some goofy warm weather, so it hasn't gotten into full swing yet, but it's going to be here, and some just really sound ice safety tips when you're out there, and just things to keep in mind and remind yourself before you go out and enjoy some ice fishing or just go out for a day outdoors. Super stoked for that. So yes, as I said, Mr. Fox will be joining us. Angler health, in that segment here, we're going to talk about nutrition and how it affects mental health. That's right. Everybody usually always thinks on the physical nutrition side, of getting swole, man, and getting in better shape. But the fact of the matter is, nutrition, hydration directly and significantly impacts your mental health, and why that's important to anglers and just people in general. We have a tackle hack that we're going to throw out there to you. One of our first ever that we're putting out here. I've always said I try to avoid some of that stuff just because there's about 92 million other people doing it out there. But this was one that we've gotten a lot of good response from guys that are far more experienced even than us when it comes to that sort of thing. So yeah, man, like I said, we've got a ton of things to go over here. And that is exactly what we're going to do. Before we get rolling into the news section piece here, got an awesome, cool little quick 30-second deal from one of our fantastic sponsors that's been with us from day one. That would be Blackfish Outdoor Apparel. I think you're going to dig what you see here. So without further ado, let's get it rolling and take a peek. And welcome back here. That storm skin that you just saw there, I'm telling you, dude, that is the stuff. Blackfish gear. You can plan for so many things out there. The weather, however, you just have to prepare for it, right? It changes. That storm skin is a game changer, dude, on how it, I know they use that term out there, but for me, it truly was. In that just the ability to kind of encompass many different varieties of weather with that storm skin is just, it's phenomenal. Go check it out at blackfishgear.com and you will see, look at the reviews if anybody's got them going just yet. It's still a relatively new product out there, but you won't be disappointed. All right, man, so we're going to go ahead and roll into our news section right here. So we're going to briefly touch on, like I said before, we're going to briefly touch on some fishing news. First of the articles that there was a decent amount, but these are the few that caught my attention. First one was the Bass Pro Sportsman's Warehouse. That deal is off. Something doesn't strike me right about this deal. The reason why it's off was basically Bass Pro Shops pulls out of the deal because they believe the FTC's not going to give a favorable view on this, and it's going to cancel the merger anyway, or the buyout, however you want to paint that picture. So that cost Bass Pro Shops $55 million. Now, it's probably because I'm not smart in these certain areas, but my question is, why would you pull out and get hit with the $55 million termination fee and not simply just let the FTC squash the deal? I wonder, maybe their contract said, regardless, if anything happens, you're going to owe the 55. So they just figured maybe rip the Band-Aid off. I don't know. If anybody's got any thoughts on that, any information, throw it down here and we'll chat about it. Educate me on this area, because something didn't strike me right about it. But nevertheless, the end result is there is no buyout taking place. There is no merger. Sportsman's Warehouse will remain on its own. In other big news on the fishing side of things, all three major brands, if you will, the Bass Pro Tour, the best, the big guns, and then the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit and the Bass Elites all announced their rosters for 2022. Super cool. Got a decent amount of rookies coming into each one of those. I am hats off to Bass, starting that field starting to shape up now, where you're getting some familiar household names that are circulating into it there. So super cool to see the Elites and the Pro Circuit having the big guns duking it out there. And then of course the Bass Pro Tour it speaks for itself when you're looking at anglers that have won the most money and won the most tournaments over the last 20 years of our sport. They are at the Bass Pro Tour, for sure, the lion's share of them. So super cool seeing all those out there, and some neat personalities are going to be in there. It should make for a very entertaining year. And that's pretty much it, but I would be remiss if I didn't put a special positive thoughts and vibes and prayers going out to the entire Midwest, Kentucky, Tennessee area that got hit with these tornadoes that just took place here. December tornadoes, okay, but the devastation looked to be pretty rough out there. So we're hoping that for the best, and that these communities can come together there to rally and rebuild and get back going again. But let's move on here towards our non-profit partner spotlight piece here, where we talk about these. What I wanted to do with episode 2 here was give you an idea of the 3 major ones that I work with, and then talk about some of the others that we're starting to work with. We will try to help just about any nonprofit that is associated with veterans and first responders, providing support in the forms of outdoor or recreational therapy, because those are areas we can help with. And provided the nonprofit passes through our vetting process, where it's a legit nonprofit, it's not a fly-by-night type thing, and there's nothing goofy going on there. Provided that they check out to us, that our own internal piece that we do, then we'll talk with them, man, and we'll see what we can do to help out. But we do spend the lion's share of our time with 3. The first one on our list is Allegiance Ranch and Rescue. What they are a horse rescue that rehabs horses. They save them, rehab them physically, mentally, the whole 9 yards. And then they use those horses for horsemanship clinics and just all general care with veterans and first responders and their families. The ranch becomes a place here locally that veterans and first responder families can actually come to and spend time with horses, get to know them if they don't have much of a background to them, learn to ride. The kids can come and ride, and all of this is at no cost. It is such an amazing deal. The animal welfare thing is a big deal to us personally. And so when they combine that with actually taking care of America's real heroes and warriors, to give them a place that they can just get away for a while and maybe engage some of the outdoors with ranch life. And then, of course, the ranch also hosts once a month. They do a muster where they get around the bonfire and they can hang out together and talk. Just get away. Just a place that they can go where they can meet like-minded individuals with similar backgrounds and experiences. And I got to tell you, folks, that is a major thing when it comes to providing those type of environments. We partner with them in the form, especially for 2022, in providing any veteran or first responder that works through the ranch. We will actually take them out on a guided fishing trip completely free of cost. We'll take them around Colorado here. Obviously, locally, we can either go on foot. Hopefully, with 2022, we're working on a kayak project that we're going to be able to offer kayak fishing. And then, of course, we take the nitro out and we go to some of those areas. And we just go spend half a day or a day fishing. The important piece behind this on the ecotherapy and the recreational therapy, there is a known beneficial piece and facts that are provided to individuals that are working their way through PTS, anxiety, depression, general feelings of disconnection, these type of things, there is a medical benefit that takes place to engaging in outdoor activities, specifically in our case with fishing. It helps. It provides avenues of calm. It provides focus, some clarity, peace. And I guarantee if you go out with me, you're going to be laughing at me or with me, one of the two. That's kind of what we set out there to do. Ultimately, our goal in this case, with the correct partners in play, which we are working on that, we want to also, at the conclusion of these trips, provide some basic gear so that these warriors, these heroes, can actually continue this on even with or without our fishing trips. Obviously, our goal is to reach as many different warriors and veterans that we can get a hold of there, and try to at least help them engage the outdoors and see the benefits of fishing and so forth. And that's really what we're talking about by engaging the kayak side. A lot of our waters out here are very kayak friendly. We could literally triple our output with trips and vets, first responders that we could work with. So yeah, we're going to work tirelessly on those areas. The ranch, the people that go out there and volunteer, when we're not doing the fishing trips, ways that we still try to contribute, we go and we muck stalls. We go out there and we just do general care. We do some general maintenance out there with them, fixing some doors, fixing some gates, doing whatever we need to do. There's a lot to get done on the ranch out there, and there's only so much that those folks can do on their own out there, and that's what they rely on as the volunteers. And we try to fill that gap during these times when we can't do a lot of fishing trips out here, and most of our reservoirs have water drawn down. We can't get out to them, or just the weather's not so great or conducive to folks wanting to get out. So at any rate, that was some of the things that we do with the ranch there. And we constantly look for supporters to help us with these individual events, or just the general overall piece of helping us keep the lights on our side, and so we can continue to provide the support for the ranch, of course. And then we do things such as this, which is raise awareness for them and try to get you there. So you'll see their website going up here. We'll basically put that up. Go check them out. Anything you can do to help out if you're interested. If you don't live close and maybe you don't have monies to donate to them, totally fine. I've got some other ideas, ways that you can actually help by doing the same thing that you normally would be doing. So reach out to me, let me know you're interested, and I'll give you some ideas here and things you can do that help this whole process through. And that goes for all of these. The next nonprofit that we work with is the Warrior Bonfire Program. The Warrior Bonfire Program works specifically with Purple Heart recipients. We'll get their website up here. The Purple Heart recipients, combat wounded veterans. What the Bonfire does is nationally, across the entire nation, they organize these bonfire retreats, usually 4 or 5 days, somewhere in that ballpark, and it engages some form of recreational activity, either fishing, hunting, hiking, something in that area there. They will engage in. These guys, these heroes get a chance to go to this retreat, hang out with. Usually I believe it's no more than 6 at just about any one of the retreats. And they get an opportunity to spend some time with people that get it. 5 other individuals who have walked in their boots, that understand what they're going through, understand some of the trials and tribulations. And again, I can't express to you how important that is to these warriors, to be around individuals and other people that finally do understand. Because not for nothing, folks, we out here in the civilian world, as much as we may care, there's no possible way that we can fully understand. Okay, and we have to be okay with that, and understand that. Don't try to understand in some of these cases, just because there's no way. We haven't seen what they've seen. We haven't been in the situations that they've been in. And it's just far more complex than what you realize. But that doesn't mean you can't help. That doesn't mean you can't do things to show them how important they are to us, and how valuable they are to our communities, and the skill sets that they do have. There's a lot of initiatives in that regard, and that's what the Warrior Bonfire helps do. Our involvement with them is anytime that there is a fishing engagement somewhere around the country. I work with the president and the vice president of the company to see if we can time our our trips when we're out moving around there, that we can join them at the retreats. We bring our gear in. We'll share some tips on the fishing side of things, get them, obviously, if we have the boat there, we'll bring the boat. When we have the kayaks, we'll be bringing kayaks. You name it. We're going to try to make their fishing experience even more enjoyable. And again, once we have the proper sponsors in place, we want to make sure we can send a care package home with each one of these warriors so that when they go home, they can continue to engage the outdoors and reap the rewards that it has there. During the off season, when we're not doing stuff there, some of the things that I've been working with the president on is logistics, doing some research on local areas that they're going to be going to, looking for certain services, things like that they're trying to arrange and put together. And we're wide open. You know what I mean? We'll do whatever we can, whenever we can, to help out the Warrior Bonfire program. And last but not least, the brand new one that is stepping on board for 2022, we are going to work with them, is Heroes on the Water. This is about as simplistic and fantastic as it gets. Paddle, heel, fish. That is literally their motto piece there. And it really boils down to their specific 6 to 10 veterans or first responders at a time, kayak fishing events. And that's it, man. It just goes right to that piece right there. Heroes on the Water. They have about 58, almost 60 chapters across the entire United States, okay, in different states. Each state is kind of its own chapter and kind of operates, individually. For whatever reason, Colorado has a huge market for this. With veterans, first responders, of course, kayak-friendly waters. But for whatever reason, they don't have a chapter out here yet. So we are going to work tirelessly to help find some folks that will take the reins of this organization here locally. And then we're just going to help promote them. We're going to partake with these, help with the safety aspects of it, help with the fishing aspects of it. And once again, you see a theme coming here with the right partners in play. We're going to be able to provide some fishing gear to these anglers. And that is another. Every one of these services that we work with, these are zero cost to the veterans. All right. I mean, that's the most important piece there. To me, they get a chance to go do some things that maybe they normally wouldn't be able to go do, and now we can actually get them on that path moving forward. And so, yeah, man, we're gonna be working with them. That's a brand new development here, so we're going to be just kind of evolving that as we go, and we're going to be going out talking to some fishing clubs, fishing teams, see if we can find some people in the kayak community out here that would be willing to operate and run this chapter. This state could easily support 4 chapters, I bet, with our population and waters. So we're going to see what we can do to get at least 1, maybe 2 chapters up and running. And I want to give notable mention here, though, however, we are booked for August to go to this. Remember what I said is I work with 3 primary, but I also work with just about anyone that's a legitimate one. We had the honor and distinction to meet the Romans Warrior Foundation when they were in town putting up the Global War on Terror Wall of Remembrance. They had that at Shields, then they moved it over to Wellington. We were invited to go over there with them to the Wellington area. That's where we had the F-16s flying over. If you saw on our social post out there, you see that video. What a fantastic family to meet these guys. Brian Romans is the founder. Romans Warrior Foundation, they have a facility, a compound, if you will, in Indiana. And we're going to be going there in August of 2022 for one of their retreats that they host. They have all bunk housing and everything set up for the veterans and the families. Very family-friendly environment. They have a private lake out there, and they're going to be having some fishing going on. We're going to try to reach out to other anglers out there in the competitive field to see if they can join us with this, because what they'd love to do is take one boat with one angler and then one vet, and partner up like there and just have some friendly little, fishing fun out there, have our own little internal derby. But yeah, man, we're going to be working with the Romans Warrior Foundation. We're going to be trying to pick that up as far as what we do with them. If there's other things they need from us, we're going to try to help them out where we can in that area. Most recently, we were in talks with also the Platte River Veterans Fly Fishing Group. We were chatting with them. We may be doing a couple things to help them out. I can't spell fly fishing, to be honest with you, and I'm pretty sure there's probably a court order somewhere that says keep a fly rod out of that dude's hands. But nevertheless, if they're working with veterans, they're engaging the outdoors. That's our MO, man. And so if there's something we can do to help them out, darn right, we're going to do it. So anyway, folks, that is pretty much the skinny on this whole thing. Check out each one of these guys' websites, okay? Go there to their websites. You will see the upcoming information that's going on, a lot of the events that they have planned. Coming up here soon, we're going to be doing monthly drops with their upcoming events that they have planned, different things they have going on. And of course, we'll be having on our schedule anytime we're joining them or anytime we're going to be at one of these events, you will see it plastered all over our social media and our website. So yeah, man. So we're going to go ahead and roll this thing out here. Thank you for joining us for all the December news. Hope you like the information. All right, and that is the news for the December edition. We're all wrapped up with that. We've got a lot more stuff to keep coming your way, y'all. So we wanted to kind of speed this stuff up and keep it moving. So in the next segment here, we got a little tackle hack for you that I'm going to share with you. Something we came across. It's in regards to a little deal. It's a little bit different than what we've ever seen anybody else, and I know the couple guys that I've shown this to were kind of thinking that, man, it's pretty simple in its approach, but super helpful. So we wanted to share this with you guys. For those of you who are familiar with what the Wacky Rig is, it's just a little hack to the Wacky Rig here, and yeah. So here, take a peek and let me know what you think. So they say necessity is the mother of all invention. Well, I'm a firm believer in that. This month's edition of a tackle hack that I want to share with you is in regards to a Wacky Rig. Now, if you fish the Wacky Rig, you know, dude, you'll catch them big, fat, tall, thin, skinny, slim, any species you want. Wacky Rig's pretty much going to catch them, right? It's an indiscriminate bait. It will attract all kinds of attention out there. But every now and again, when you want to take that Wacky Rig game to the next level, they offer weighted jig heads that are in a Wacky Rig style, and that's what we're talking about here. Got a little tip for you. So your standard Wacky Rig hook, this is by none other. Don't even mess around. Go get yourself the best out there. Owner hooks. This thing actually doubles as if you're in a pinch, it's a pretty darn good drop shot hook too. It's shape piece to it. So you can see here, that's the Owner hook. That's your standard Wacky Rig setup, right? Well, if you're like me and you want to move fast, every now and again, that weightless approach there can drive you a little bit nuts. If you're just trying to maybe get some feedback on a given area there, or if you think it's in, in my case, sometimes getting in super clear water, I like that bait to drop a little faster, just so they don't get that good of a look at it. So you got options out there, such as this guy here. This is a weedless, got a little weedless wire, and it's a weighted Wacky Rig. I was out on a deal in the middle of a tournament, pitching, flipping those bad boys around, skipping them under docks, this and that, and broke off the last one. Hooked up on a dock there, couldn't get it off, and didn't have anything left. Started throwing weightless, just wasn't seeing the same reaction. Couldn't penetrate down through that vegetation, even though it wasn't super thick. Just wasn't seeing it. So we come up with a little deal. So your standard setup here, this is what we're going to share with you. This is my little tackle hack. Your standard setup, just got a little stick worm here. We're going to bite it through. Use yourself a good plastic. You don't need to get too much of the meat and it'll still hold on. Got a little ring on the side there. Just your standard hookup, right? Well, here's the deal. When you want to get moving a little bit more with weight, get yourself out there. Get yourself some NACO tungsten. All right, now this happens to be the 1/16 ounce size right here. This is about as heavy as I'll go in most cases. But what you're going to do is you're going to take yourself a nail weight, like so. You're going to flip it over on the bottom. Bend it right where that piece is there. Take this nail weight and feed it right down the middle. Okay, once you got it in there, pull back the worm there so it's completely covered. And now what you got yourself is a weighted Wacky Rig. The weight's going to come right from the center, therefore you're still going to get plenty of the action as this thing is coming down through the water. She's still going to get that action as much as you want it or as little as you want it on its fall. But you're going to be able to cover a little bit more water, a little bit faster here. Get down through, initial blades of grass, whatever the case may be. Skip a little bit further underneath some docks, you name it. Follow along here, we'll be throwing some more tackle hacks your way. Tight lines, be safe. All right, man. So hopefully that little tackle hack will help you there. The small piece on that, just so you're aware, I mean, I have caught more fish than I can count on a wacky rig, and that little weighted setup that we did right there, the last time I was out with that, it not only catches them small, but it hits them big too, man. Lake of the Ozarks there, my stupidity is what lost it, but hooked into every bit of a 5-pounder off a dock sitting in about 40 foot of water using that setup. Did catch over 5-pounder up in northern Minnesota, up there in the cities area on one of those metro lakes. Hit a 5-pounder. I was a few ounces off from catching big bass on that thing. So not only does it catch the small ones, it'll also hit the big ones too, man. It's a neat little approach. Just another maneuver. I have a ton of confidence in it. I'll throw it. I'll actually go to that before I go to the weighted jig heads now. I do that way just because it helps maintain that profile and that wacky rig approach, as opposed to the Nico style of connection where you're putting the weight in one end or the other. So anyway, hopefully that helps. Never can have too many little tips and tricks. Try it out, see what you think. All right, folks, so like I said before at the beginning of this thing, it is the spirit of giving. We have so much stuff we want to cover here, so we're going to keep this rolling. We are going to roll this into our next section, which is angler's health. We're talking about nutrition, the importance of it, why you as a tournament angler out there actually should care about the stuff you're putting in your body and when you're doing so. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll that segment. All right, and thanks for joining us for this month's edition of Angler's Health. So what we're talking about is nutrition, dude. So I'm going to try to sum this thing up here quite a bit. If this ends up being a topic that people are interested in more, we can get a little bit more in depth into it. But we're going to try to sum this up. So angler's nutrition, angler's health. When you think of good foods and eating right, and you think of athletic performance, it always immediately goes to the physical side, right? I mean, that's what they think of. But let's call a spade here. Okay, we're anglers, all right? So calling ourselves an athlete, it can rarely ever get done without a chuckle being involved in that. But now, when we start talking about the upper end of this sport, the top 1%, the people that are batting at the highest levels and competing at that chuckle's gone, because the physical necessity to be in the top shape is definitely there. But more importantly than that on nutrition, when it comes to the effects on angling, in my opinion, is the mental health benefits. Okay, so before we get too far down the rabbit hole, let's just put a couple facts in play. Your nutrition, your digestive health is directly physically connected to your brain. Okay, that's anatomy and physiology. These two things affect one another. Your digestive health, your intake of foods directly affects your mental health. When we start talking about the areas that are affected here, the areas of clear decision making, focus, stress management, these areas are all affected by nutrition. That's hydration and food intake. So when you're going down the laundry list of things that are that you can control, right? I mean, isn't that the name of our game? Is that we try to deal with the variables in our sport that we can control. Okay, because there are some things that are outside of your control that you can't focus on, you can't mess with. You can't change the weather. Whatever it is, you got to deal with it and move on. So you can't plan in most cases for the weather completely. You just have to be ready for it to handle anything that comes your way in some areas of the country. But when you're going down the list of things that you can control, this is one of them. All right, I've had the pleasure, honor to be in the boat for an entire fishing day with 3 of the world's top anglers competing at the highest level during some events. And I can tell you, watching them perform, there was a common denominator in here. And what that common denominator was that the same energy and focus that they had on cast number 1, they had it all the way to the final cast and back to the ramps getting ready for weigh-in. When I saw them throttle down was getting ready for weigh-in. Okay, it was a different change, but they don't drop off throughout the day. This is a testament to their physical conditioning and their mental conditioning of being, still at the top of their game after umpteen hours, handling all the ups and the downs, keeping their focus, making smart decisions on what to do with the weather at the pattern change, where to chase the fish, where to go next on the lake. Their alertness to those changes, on how quickly they adapt and change to that, and just clear thinking in general. Those things were all at the highest level for these guys. It was in the details, right, of these anglers. Well, guess what? I just made a laundry list of the things that are affected by good nutrition and good hydration. Okay, so to keep from going down too far on this thing and spending 30 minutes on it, the bottom line is this: when you travel a long distance to go to certain events, I'm going to give you my example, and then you can apply that to your example, or however you want to look at it. We know the necessities there. So for us, in my case here, I have to travel a minimum of 12 hours to get to the nearest body of competitive water that we compete at. We compete through Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Missouri, Wisconsin, Minnesota. So we're a minimum 12 hours away to get to the nearest body. On the road, you have the issue there. What do you eat going down the road? I can tell you what I used to eat and things that I used to do there, and after changing them, I've noticed an amazing difference. Then you have to deal with when you get to your area, wherever you're going to fish. We're going to be in town 4 or 5 days, depending on the event, and then we're either heading back or we're heading to the next event. But we're either living out of the back of the truck, we're in a tent, or we're in a hotel. No matter how you paint it, the pull to fast food is there, man. Okay, it is there, and it's readily available for most of us. But we were noticing that impact. We were noticing the bad things that were coming with it, right? I mean, it was just, you feel like crap when you get there. You don't have the energy. Throughout the day, aches and pains start coming in, not feeling real great about what you're doing. And then by the time you get there, you got to drive another 12 to 15 hours back. It was just taking its toll. So we changed up, and here's what we did. In the old days, I'd have a big old bag of M&Ms sitting in the center console of the Silverado there as I'm driving down the road. Not only did I like M&Ms, of course, 240 pounds will attest to that, but the thing about it is that mechanical piece, of reaching into the center console, grabbing onesie, twosie, pieces and munching like that, that mechanical piece helped keep me awake, going down the road. And so it was just, it helped pass the time. We changed up. Okay, so now what we did to get rid of the bad choices, now we use almonds, all right, or we'll use pecans. Some healthy snack like that we can still onesie twosie. One of the best ones there, as long as you don't get it loaded up with a bunch of junk, is popcorn. Dude, popcorn's phenomenal. It's just that little feature piece there. It helps keep you snacky going down the road. If we do look at eating, a full meal going down there, we usually take it with us. Okay, it's meal prepping. You plan it and you get some stuff. Fruits, that's a good thing to keep munching on the road down there. Sandwiches that you can make up and easily put in a sandwich bag. You can throw in a quick cooler, whatever. Put it in the truck with you, and down the road you go. That was a huge portion, so that when I get to my destination, I don't feel like, a can of crap. I feel like I can still, get things handled. Because one of the first things I do when I get to my destination is hit up the local grocery store. I don't like packing a ton of stuff with me, so I do some, satellite and map checking before I get there, so I know where my grocery stores are going to be. And if I can, I hit it that same day. I go there and start loading up. There's nothing wrong with going out to eat with the buddies and doing this and that. Obviously that, with your cohorts out there, networking is fun. It's important. It's social. There's nothing wrong with that. But we try to minimize it now. If I'm in Osage Beach area, I'm hitting bandanas. That barbecue is just top shelf. Love that. So we'll hit that at least once when we're out there. But otherwise, what we're going to do is we're going to load up with fruits and veggies and meats. I take an electric skillet with me on the road now. We can cook up things there. Salads, that's a big one. Lots of chickens, chicken, as far as a meat goes, that's easy to pack and easy to cook first. Put it in a baggie. It saves, pretty well when you're getting there. Whatever, plus you can throw it on salads. Whatever it takes, though, is get into that side there, because if you're talking about keeping your body hydrated properly and talking about keeping your body, with good nutrients so that you have proper mental health, then all the things you do outside of being on the boat or getting there are just as important, because it's setting the stage as you get there. Now, one other piece that does help me on the road, and more importantly in the boat, this is what we ended up finding. You'll find your own. I highly encourage, go out and do nutritional advice. Look up things online for good nutrition for mental health. Okay, that's what I'm talking about here, is promoting good, clear thinking, focus, decision-making, alertness, stress management, handling the ups and downs of the day that the things are going to throw at you, tackle breaking fish, jumping, co-angler, bumping your fish off with a net, or you doing the same to them. Whatever the case may be, you want to be able to handle that and keep moving, because at the end of the day, that's what separates the weekend guy from the people that are doing this thing for a living. And so if you're wanting to get up there and cash more checks and go to that next level, you got to get that mental health piece all, squared away. But one of the things that I found for me that works is we ended up hitting up GNC, dude. I do a couple of their bars now, and I had to find some stuff that didn't taste like I was mowing into a bar of sawdust. But we got a couple of the bars. The MRE bars are fantastic. The little snack bars are awesome. And then we do some shakes. I avoid a lot of the artificial sweetener junk. Can't deal with that. Your body doesn't know what the heck to do with it anyway. So we avoid that. But these things here, man, that's what sustains me throughout. And then, of course, I have a cooler full of water. Gallon jugs, bottled water, whatever you need to do, however you need to take it, keep water flowing. When you're going in between locations, grab that bottle of water, boom, hammer it down there. Make sure you're hydrating in the days leading up to tournament day, okay? Hydration just doesn't affect, immediately. Get hydrated, stay hydrated leading up to it so your body can handle it and you're already loaded and ready to go. It's easier to maintain than it is to try to catch up once you're behind the 8 ball. Okay, those little tips right there, man, that should help in this. If you're curious, if you're interested in going to that next level, I'm telling you, talk to those that are doing the stuff that you want to do, and you'll start to see these little differences, right? It's in the details that separates that. Plus, on top of this whole thing, your body's going to thank you for it. I guarantee you can't treat it like a garbage can and expect it to operate at its top side there. Doesn't matter what level or what kind of athlete you are. If you want to perform, you got to have that physical and mental balance taking place in there. Hope that stuff helps, guys. Make sure to smash the subscribe button down there. If you got some tips, got some thoughts on it, throw some comments down in there. I'd love to have a great conversation with you. Tight lines, be safe, y'all. All right, so hopefully those angler health tips help you out a little bit. Pay attention to it, man. It's the real deal, and it'll help you take your game to the next level. And just general all around better mental health is always a good thing. So we are now here at the end of part 1. That's right, part 1 here. This thing has already gone long enough, so we're going to go ahead and end this. Part 2 that's going to drop in a couple days. Hang with us on this. It's going to be super exciting. We're going to have both of our interviews. We'll have the interview with KRISTINE FISCHER, and then we'll have the interview with Justin Fox. That'll be in part 2. That'll drop in literally just a couple days from when you see this one. So stick with us there, and we'll see you on the other side.